Hi guys, so I said my next video was going to be on Sunday with the season premiere of season 6 of True Blood, but E3 just happened and I watched all the conferences for Microsoft, EA, Ubisoft, Nintendo and Sony, and I just wanted to say a couple of things. Basically what happened is there's this whole controversy regarding used games for the new Xbox console, which is the Xbox One. And you will not be able to basically resell your games. You will have to have, in order to give your games away to a friend, they will have to be in your friends list on Xbox Live for more than 30 days, and you can only give it away once. You basically have to connect to the internet once every 24 hours to be able to play your games which you've already paid for. And if you do have a used game, basically you have to pay a fee to play it. So it basically cancels out the whole trading industry regarding Xbox in the future. Now, in Sony's press conference, one of their great sort of cards, I guess, was that they showed in their conference that they would continue to support used games. They will not require constant access to the internet. You basically do whatever you want with your games. You could give it away to a friend, you could keep it forever, you could trade it in, you could sell it, you could do it, like, you could use it as a friggin', to hold your coffee cups if you really wanted to do that with it. Like, they said that basically we believe that once you have purchased the commercial rights to that disc, then that disc is yours to do whatever you want with. We can't stop you from doing anything with it, whatever you want to do with it. And they also said that you won't need to have, every 24 hours a connection to, to connect to the internet. So basically, a couple months ago, some guy who works for Microsoft, when someone before all these accusations for Microsoft came up, there was a rumor going around that you would have to have a constant online connection to use the new Xbox. And this guy at Microsoft said, well, who doesn't have an internet connection these days? Everyone's always online, and that's absolutely not true. I mean, I know people who are still using dial-up who's, they've got like a monthly cap on their internet. It's just not doable for everyone, and not everyone has internet. Not everyone has, the means to do that. When you buy a gaming console, it's to plug it into the wall, plug it into your TV, to put a disc into it and play away. You should not have to connect to the internet. I mean, if you want to, be doing that, then surely shouldn't you be providing a means of allowing your consumers who buy your games consoles and your games to have a way to access the internet? And then basically, in saying that you cannot play the games you have paid for, and you cannot use the console you have paid for without a constant internet access, that is basically punishing the consumer. So, yeah. And recently, a guy called Don Mattrick, who works for Microsoft, I can't remember what position he's in, but he was on Microsoft's conference at E3 a couple of days ago, and he's pretty high up. And someone interviewed him and basically said, what about, Sony basically said that you don't have to have to constantly be online. You don't, they will continue to support used games and stuff like that. What do you say in response to that? Don Mattrick basically turned around and he literally said, well, there is a device out there for people who don't want to be online constantly, who don't want to pay a fee for used games, and that's called the Xbox 360. And when I heard that, I'm disgusted. And I'm also laughing because if this guy is meant to be like one of the top executives at Microsoft, I really do not think he should be keeping his job at all. And I've wrote down a couple of things, a couple of my thoughts. I'm just going to read them out. So basically, he said, if you don't want to have to connect to the internet every 24 hours, and if you don't want to, pay a subscription fee for used games and stuff like that, all you have to do is buy a 360. Now, this is an extremely dumb concept since as of November, the 360 is officially last gen, since November is when the Xbox One comes out. And as a result, the number of games being produced for the 360 will plummet. We've already seen signs of this in Microsoft's E3 2013 conference a few days ago, because no new games for the 360 were shown or announced, since it was pretty much all about the Xbox One. They did have this nice little perk thing, and basically they said that people who are subscribed to Xbox Live Gold Gold members, obviously you have to pay to use Gold, they will get 2 free games per month up until the release of the Xbox One, which is in November. So the 2 free games per month perk, I think it's great, but it means you also have to have a Gold account, which is, obviously subscription only, and it will only be in effect between July 2013 and November 2013, which is like, what, 4 months? So, in effect, this means that Microsoft is actively pushing away users from the 360 and onto the Xbox One. Now, you may be saying that this isn't so since they're doing the free games promotion, but if you look at it, which 2 games did they show for this free giveaway at the conference? They were Assassin's Creed 2 and Halo 3, which are 2 series which will have new installments for the Xbox One later this year. It's basically free marketing since they know that neither Assassin's Creed 2 nor Halo 3 bring in many sales currently. You may say that they are losing money from these titles and giving away the games for free, but in actuality what they're doing is they're going to make it back once Assassin's Creed 4 and the new Halo game comes out, since they basically promoted the series, like, Assassin's Creed series and the Halo series, to millions of live users. And I think there's something like, I read online that there were 77.2 million users of Xbox, and I think there's many millions of people who use Xbox Live and Gold subscribers as well, so millions of people are going to see this. Giving away free copies of games that are several years old and don't bring you much revenue is an extremely effective form of marketing, and is much more cost effective than, regular marketing. It also tricks non-Gold users into thinking that they're going to get free content, so the number of Gold subscribers will also increase, and at the end of the day, Microsoft ends up making a few bucks off the whole deal. So you see, they're not pushing the 360, they're pushing the sales of Xbox Ones, Xbox One versions of established franchises, and Xbox Live subscriptions. The 360 is simply a conduit for their marketing schemes, and is even more effective since the 360 is an extremely popular console. But back to the original argument. With the number of titles for the 360 falling, and the number of titles for the Xbox One rising, why on earth would you purchase a 360, which is essentially a last generation console? The 360 will become valueless, that it will not have any value anymore. Everybody will begin to slowly migrate over to the newer consoles, and your financial investments into the console will become meaningless. You'll be putting money into a dying console. Would you put money into a corporation whose stocks are crashing? No, you'd invest them elsewhere. And since the 360 isn't cheap and you have to fork out extra money for a decent version of the console, which, would be a Slim, which has, the wireless capabilities as opposed to the original versions of the Xbox, which, they have the Ethernet port and stuff inside them, they don't have the wireless capabilities. And you'd need, obviously, a console with a good deal of storage space, which is obviously the 250GB model. I think the other alternative is the 4GB model on the Slim, but 4GB is nothing. Like, if you even want to remotely go online with your Xbox, 4GB doesn't get you anywhere. If you're installing things, updating things, 4GB is nothing. It's a waste of money. So yeah, for a good, decent version of the 360, it's a couple $100, or euros or pounds, etc. Additionally, you have to pay for a Gold subscription fee. So if Don Mattrick is telling you to buy a 360 if you don't like the Xbox One, why would you buy a 360 at all? You could just buy a PS3, which is about the same price as a 360 these days, except the online service is free. Plus, PlayStation are continuing to support the PS3, as detailed by Sony in their E3 conference a few days ago when they showed a lineup of games coming out for the PS3, despite the fact that the PS4 is going to be available this holiday season. More importantly, Mattrick's statement just pushes the fact that you really should buy a PS4. It's new, obviously it's a new generation console in competition with the Xbox One. It supports used titles, it supports sharing, given away, reselling at your discretion due to your consumer rights. It doesn't require you to reaffirm your connection to the internet every 24 hours. It doesn't stop you from doing anything you want to do with the game that you have paid for. So why would you invest a few $100s into a dying, albeit decent console like the 360, when you could put that money into buying a PS4? And if you really didn't want to get a PS4, then why not put that money for a 360 into buying a PS3? Telling consumers to buy a 360 in place of an Xbox One is so pathetically redundant if Microsoft is abandoning the 360 in favour of a more profitable gaming console. I just think that, like, the whole thing with Mattrick, I really love my 360. I have a lot of love for my 360. I play my 360 all the time. I had a PS3 at one point. Personally, the PS3 just is not for me. But if you got 4 options, the Xbox One is screwed. There's no reason to get an Xbox One. It's $100, like €100. Like, I think it's something like 90 or 80 or 90 pounds more expensive than the PS4. Automatically, the option is going to be the PS4 because it's more cost effective in the long run, and they're not douchebags. Like, Sony aren't a perfect gaming company, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not really fans of either Sony or Microsoft, but in this whole, like, console war thing right now, the PS4 looks like the much more better option. So, like, and then in saying, like, okay, obviously you don't want to get the Xbox One, I understand that. So you got 3 of the options: the PS4, the PS3, or the 360. But then if it's telling you, okay, go back to the 360, you still have to pay for it. And if you want to use online, you still have to pay for it. So the cheapest option is the PS3. Like, either way, like, the cheapest option, like, is a PS3 or a PS4. So I just don't get what he doesn't understand about this, and I just think it's honestly, I just think they really need to, like, reassess what their goals are and reassess their relationship and their establishment with their their customers. Because honestly, if they keep going the way that they're going, and if they don't make some serious U-turns in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months before the release of the Xbox One, I don't think Microsoft is going to last very long at all. I don't see it lasting more than a few more years in the console industry. I really don't. So yeah, sorry, my throat's really hurting, but that's just my thoughts on this whole thing with Microsoft and whatnot. I will be getting a PS4 when I have the funds, which I don't know when I'm going to be, but I'm probably going to wait a couple of months. I'm going to trade in my 360 Slim, have put store credit on that, trade in my games and stuff, and put real money towards getting a PS4, because I just think it's the much better option at this point. And even though I do understand that you do have to pay now to play online for the PlayStation, I think it said it's something like less than $5 a month, so it'd probably be about exactly the same as I pay currently for my Xbox Live Gold subscription. So yeah, so those are my thoughts, and I hope you like them. Bye.